Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you. France is getting ready for an election, and it's getting very interesting. And in that context, I wanted to get somebody on who knows what they're talking about and what they're doing and all that sort of. We just have Skype audio on this, right? Because he's not on the board. Okay, cool. Thank you. So with us is Cole Stangler, the Paris-based journalist covering labor and politics. His work has appeared in the Village Voice, Vice, The Nation, In These Times, International Business Times, among other outlets. His website, Cole, C-O-L-E, Stangler, STANGLER.com. And you can tweet him at Cole Stangler. And Cole, welcome back to the program.
It's great to be back.
It's great having you with us. So what's happening right now? What is, first of all, maybe an overview for people who haven't been following what's going on in French politics or haven't seen, I'm guessing you saw that great analysis that John Oliver did of the election.
Yep.
But in any case, can you recap for us what is happening and what are the stakes and who are the players?
Yeah, so basically, for some time now, for the last couple of years, there's been a kind of near consensus among media, among politicians, that Marine Le Pen of the far-right National Front Party is going to be in the second round of the election. There's 2 rounds for this presidential election. If no one wins an outright majority in the first round, they go to a runoff round. The consensus was Marine Le Pen was absolutely going to be in the second round, and she's basically remained steady around 25% of the vote. And then you had kind of uncertainty around who would be in a second round with her, and then that remains up until today. For some time, it looks like François Fillon, who is the winner of the right-wing party primary from former President Nicolas Sarkozy's party, former prime minister, that he was going to be the main contender versus Le Pen. And then he's kind of struggled with a series of scandals. Into his place stepped Emmanuel Macron as the next presumable frontrunner versus Le Pen and presumable frontrunner overall. This is a kind of centrist who broke from the Socialist Party, who's an independent. Actually just spoke on the phone with President Obama, I'm told today, if you read news reports. And now Macron is the main favorite. But then the big story of the last few weeks, which has been undeniable, has been the surge of someone from the left, a left-wing populist, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, coming from an independent movement that he's organized, not an official party, but an independent movement around him, obviously drawing comparisons to Bernie Sanders. There was an interview today where the French ambassador to the U.S. compared Mélenchon to Bernie Sanders and Le Pen to Trump, and the comparisons are there for people to make. And so the big development here in the last few weeks has been the rise of Mélenchon. This is someone who just a month ago was around 8%, 9% in the polls early last month, and now has just absolutely surged up to today. He's around 19% compared to 23% for Le Pen and Macron. So the votes on Sunday, this first round of the votes on Sunday, you have basically four candidates who could be there: Macron, Le Pen, Mélenchon, and Fillon. And no one really knows what's going to happen. Then there's a second round after that. Just to give you a sense, I was reading a satirical newspaper today, which has actually broken a lot of stories, kind of the French version of the Onion with breaking news. And they said the only certainty here is that there's going to be a candidate whose name ends with ON in the second round. That's kind of where things are at right now.
There you go. So why should Americans care?
Well, Americans should care because France is, one of the biggest, economies in the world. It's an important country. This election is going to have major ramifications on the European Union.
Doesn't the future and the stability of the EU hang on this? I mean, isn't Marine Le Pen part of her platform is bail out of the EU or in the Eurozone, go back to using the franc?
Yeah, Le Pen has spoken out very heavily against the euro. She wants to have a referendum of Frexit. So that's Le Pen's big plank. Mélenchon, the left-wing candidate I was describing earlier, often gets put in the same boat as Le Pen as being anti-euro. It's not quite accurate. It's more nuanced than that. What Mélenchon's camp has said is they want to have what they call a Plan A and Plan B strategy. Plan A is, assuming they win the election, they want to negotiate new treaties within the Eurozone, within the EU, to make it more progressive and get rid of these budgetary rules that prevent governments from spending money and from implementing Keynesian economic policies. So they want to say Plan A is negotiate and really try to drive a stiff bargain. And if that doesn't work, Plan B would be leaving the Eurozone. And what they say is without the Plan B having in their back pocket, they won't be able to get Plan A, which is really putting pressure on Germany and the other negotiating partners to reform the EU. So, which
is really not unlike the way Bernie was talking about NAFTA.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other big lesson, to go back to your previous question about for why American voters should care, is that And I think, I don't want to exaggerate the comparisons here to Sanders, but what's going on right now is you have a left-wing populist that's basically taking on a right-wing populist.
Right.
I'm putting it crudely here, but I think there are lessons for maybe what's the proper way to respond to this really right-wing populist argument that's clearly attracting some voters. And what Mélenchon is showing is that at least his rise up until now is showing that you combat that with an equally strong populism from the left, one that says you have a right to be angry, the system's not working, but instead of going after immigrants and foreigners, you say it's the bankers, it's the 1%, it's the economic elites, and that's really been Mélenchon's message. He's really going after these voters that he calls the disgusted ones, the disgusted. So not trying to just go in the traditional Socialist Party base or the left-wing base, but really going after people that wouldn't vote otherwise, people that are feeling fed up with politics. And I think there are some lessons there about maybe how to campaign. And in a lot of ways we're seeing it's not quite a mirror image, but a lot of the same dynamics kind of at play that were in the U.S. race taking place in France right now.
Yeah, it might even indicate. I mean, if the left winger is Mélenchon.
Yes, correct.
If he beats Le Pen and becomes the prime minister, that's sort of a Bernie could have beat Trump kind of moment. It's
yeah,
like the solution to right wing populism is not left wing centrism; it's left wing populism.
Yeah, I mean, and to that point, the Mélenchon people were sharing memes, to that effect. This is like the Bernie, Bernie would have won. This is, Mélenchon has a chance to win. And it's actually interesting if you compare the polls for the, they'll pull out different possibilities for the second round matchup.
Right. Now, France and Germany. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, sorry, and Mélenchon actually polls better against Le Pen than Fillon, who's the main right-wing candidate. He's a little bit behind Macron, but it shows that people would rather have a populist, left-winger than a mainstream, business right-wing candidate, which says something.
Yeah, I think it says a lot. So the principal beneficiaries of both the European Union and the Eurozone, at least by conventional wisdom, are Germany and France. And so the position that Mélenchon, if I'm saying it right, is taking is, it sounds like it's not so much a, we want to do this for the benefit of France, although I get, pulling out of the Schengen agreement, it's like that's sort of the, let's have our borders back. It's kind of an anti-immigration thing. But it's more of a, we're going to stand up for the pigs countries, for Portugal, Ireland, Greece, the countries that got really screwed by the EU rules that forbid Keynesian economics, FDR economics, Lyndon Johnson Great Society economics, forbid that in the Eurozone. And you're only allowed to have basically Reaganomics, to put this all in American language. Is that a reasonable analysis, or am I just like kind of off on this?
No, I think that's a good recap. I mean, there are these budgetary treaties in place right now in the EU that limit public sector spending to 3% GDP, to the deficit, to 3% of GDP, and the debt to 60% of GDP. So those are rules in place that basically prevent, mainstream Keynesian economic policies from taking place. And so, I think Mélenchon would make the case, and his team certainly is, that those rules in place are actually hurting France. Above and beyond hurting the peripheral countries in the EU, they're actually affecting France as well, because it's preventing France from, for instance, spending, in a massive green energy plan. Right now, they have most of their energy is coming from nuclear power, and what Mélenchon wants to do is have a massive kind of stimulus program centered around building, renewable sources of energy. And in France, nuclear is not very popular, and nuclear is something that, isn't as sustainable in the long run as solar and wind. So this is, and the point is, the current rules in place in the EU would basically tell France, you're not allowed to have a massive spending project like that, a massive stimulus plan. And so, I have an interview coming out tomorrow. It should be with one of Mélenchon's economic advisors. And what they're saying is, from day one, when we get elected, we want to carry out the policies that we were elected for, which is, we're not going to respect the treaties. We're going to start implementing our program, and then we're going to try to negotiate with the EU. So all this to say, I mean, there could be some pretty massive consequences here. on Europe. And then there's the other question, which we haven't talked about, but foreign policy. I mean, Mélenchon is talking about leaving NATO, which is a whole other debate. And it's I think his program is really scaring lots of people. You've seen him being attacked in the press, and you can understand why. And today, former President Obama spoke with Emmanuel Macron, who's the kind of favorite here, the centrist candidate, talking about maintaining stability. And François Hollande has casually alluded to his support for Macron. So you have a really volatile climate, and Mélenchon and Le Pen are both scaring the mainstream. And like I said, anything could happen here on Sunday. Nothing's happened the way it was supposed to this election. So anyone who says they have a prediction is wrong, I would say.
Yeah, and Mercury's retrograde, so anything can happen.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
There you go. Cole Stangler, Paris-based journalist, written for The Village Voice, Vice, The Nation. His website, colestangler.com. You can tweet him at Cole Stangler. Cole, thanks a lot for the analysis. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
We'll be right back.